We're going to go live on Facebook and Instagram. Just going to wait for you guys to trickle on in. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, Instagram. Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, YouTube. I'm sure you guys can see I have my daughters here with me today. Um, they're here with me because they're starting school in 2 days and no more camp. So today's come visit your parents at work day. They wanted to say hi, so y'all say hi and disappear.
Hi.
Get your hands in. All right, girls, you can head on off. I will be talking about. Oh, Auntie Tochi says hi. Hi, Tochi. How are you? They run off. They run off. But anyway, today I will be talking about options for abused spouses. When it comes to green cards. Okay. Before I continue, if this is your first time, definitely comment in the box. Let me know it's your first time tuning in. Let me know where you're tuning in from. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Aisha Chidolwe. I'm an immigration lawyer and I represent clients all over the United States. With the family immigration, your location doesn't matter. I'll be happy to help you. We handle, obviously valid cases, marriage-based cases, naturalization, fiance visa, parents filing for their children, children filing for their parents, and so on and so forth. Ms. Key says this is her first time on. Thank you so much for tuning in. Comment, let us know where you're tuning in from. So today I want to talk about options for spouses who have been abused and, what you can do. So I know you guys, some of you guys, obviously know about VAWA, but I want to talk about people who also have temporary green cards. I'm going to break them down into two different categories. So first things first, if you are somebody who does not have a green card and you're married to a U.S. citizen or a green card holder, and you've experienced some level of extreme cruelty or abuse, you're eligible to submit an application for a green card through a process called VAWA, which is a self-petition. Now, keep in mind that with a VAWA petition, even though the name says Violence Against Women's Act, this is not only for women. So when I'm talking about spouses here, I'm also talking about men married to women married to women, and men married to men. So it applies as long as you are a spouse and your spousal relationship is recognized as such here in the United States. Good morning to Moy from Jamaica. Thank you so much for tuning in. So in that case, when you are in a relationship with somebody who is abusive to you, you can file a self-petition. A lot of times people, will come to a consult and say, my spouse never filed for me, or my spouse has filed for me, and the case is pending, and my spouse keeps threatening me. I'm going to pull the application. I'm going to make sure you get deported, or I'm going to go sabotage the interview, or whatever the case may be. So the first thing is like, do not be in despair. Of course, it's horrible to be in an abusive relationship, but you have options. As long as you can show that you have a good faith marriage, and what I mean when I say good faith marriage means that your marriage, you both entered into that marriage to truly make your marriage work, and obviously it's not working. And you can show that you were legally free to enter that marriage, meaning any previous marriages, you were divorced. Now, let me step back for a second. If your spouse, part of the abuse is not knowing that your spouse was previously married to other people and never divorced them, or is in bigamous relationships of polygamy and you were not aware of those, you will be eligible to still submit VAWA. So when I'm talking here about, being free to marry, I'm talking about you, the victim, you, the non-green card holder. If you were free to marry, and you entered your marriage in good faith, you can put in your application. A big thing that people say, well, what if I can't document the abuse? What if I can't show that my spouse was abusive? Because a lot of what they did wasn't physical, so I wasn't able to take pictures. I will tell you this, because, I've heard this week, and it's so heartbreaking when people come to me for consultation And I find myself trying to tell them, please do not listen to the person that told you that it's only physical abuse. I can tell you, and my clients who have been approved without physical abuse can tell you, abuse is not only physical. It's not only physical. There are many ways that people are abused from a psychological and emotional standpoint that can affect them mentally, that can cause depression, that can cause PTSD, and can cause anxiety. So if these things exist in your relationship because, i.e., your husband is telling you, you're so fat, why are you wearing that skirt? You don't look good. Or why do you have on that makeup? Why do you have on the highlighter? I'm looking at all of you guys on IG that are always trying to, critique somebody. Some of these followers are also very abusive, by the way, but I just ignore them. But side note, but the point is, if you have a spouse that's telling you those things are abusive. It's not about, oh, you have a thick skin, can't you take a joke? But, if those things affect your mental psyche, gives you a complex, makes you look at yourself in the mirror and you don't feel beautiful, those things can affect you. The same goes for men. Like, if somebody's like, you don't look good. My ex-husband or my ex-boyfriend is better in bed than you are. You suck. So it's not physical. But let me tell you how that can affect a man. I'm sure, like I always say, I have these guys crying their eyes out, because of what their spouses have done to them. And for a lot of people, because we come from countries where we're told to be tough, especially as men, or just endure it, or that's marriage, they don't have many people to talk to about what they're dealing with. So the first time, a lot of times, that they're unleashing or unburdening everything that's happening is during those consultations. And so sometimes they can't even get everything out because they're crying, because, at the end of the day, this is a no judgment zone. Like, I always tell anyone that comes to consultation, there's absolutely nothing that you're going to tell me that is going to alarm me, number one, or that's going to make me look at you any less than, because I understand that, culturally, for a lot of people, they've been taught not to talk about these things, or that there's a lot of shame attached to it, saying, oh, look at you, how can a woman do that to you? So they hold that inside, but you don't have to hold that inside. You have an option to get your green card. You have an option to tell USCIS what's going on with you and how that happened. So as long as you can show those things, plus of course a that you have good moral character, meaning no crime of moral turpitude or anything like that, then you have a strong chance of getting a 10-year green card through that unfortunate relationship. And again, this process is completely confidential. Your spouse is not going to know that you've submitted a petition, as long as you don't tell them and you're not careless with your paperwork. We here at the office, we keep our clients, we use our office as a safe address for a lot of our clients. So mails generally are not directly sent from USCIS to your house. They're sent to us, and then you tell us where to send it to. So that's one way. The other way is if you already have a 2-year green card. If you already have a 2-year green card, and you find yourself in this unfortunate situation that your spouse has become abusive, and your spouse is like, well, peace out. I'm not going to be a part of you removing the conditions of your green card. I'm not going to help you with that. This is not the only thing that you would need to be successful in an abuse case. I'm just giving you an example. Basically, your spouse is super abusive, or part of your spouse forcing you to bend to their will is them threatening you that I will not participate in your conditional green card if you don't cook, if you don't scrub the floors, if you don't do this, if you don't bring home this amount of money, if you don't stop working. Because sometimes, in financial abuse, you can have spouses that don't want their spouse to better their lives, because somehow they feel that them bettering their lives means that they would potentially make more money and they would leave them and for another better spouse or whatever. So you'll find them trying to sabotage them at work. You have spouses that will be calling and calling and calling you at work, knowing that you can't take phone calls at work until the person gets terminated. You have some spouses that will show up to your workplace, or call your manager and tell you, you need to fire this person. And then you have the other extreme where there are people that would basically there are people that would basically say, you must go to work. You must work 40 hours a week. You must work 80 hours a week. You must provide all this stuff. Like they want you to work and work and work and work and work, and then come home and do all this manual labor. So all those things, are definitely things that you can do. The difference is that there are two different applications that you're submitting. If you're submitting based on you being a 2-year conditional green card holder, based on abuse, versus you doing a valid application, because one is that you don't have a green card, one is that you do have a green card. I will tell you the standards are much higher if you're a conditional green card holder, but not impossible. The reason why the standards are much higher, when I say standards being higher, meaning you have more to prove to USCIS, is because at that point, you already have a green card. At that point, you already have the ability to work. And so they want to see that you're taking your life and actions into your own hands, meaning, okay, you don't have a police report, but what do you have? What can you show us? So they believe it's easier to document versus somebody who comes here, you don't have status, you don't have a green card. It's terrifying calling the cops. Because truly, you don't know if you're going to be the one arrested. And like I've told you guys before, I've had VAWA clients whose VAWA ultimately got approved, but they called the cops, but they ended up being the ones arrested. So that happens. And so that's truly a legitimate fear for a lot of people. So basically, those are two solid options as, non-green card holders or 2-year green card holders that you can use to apply to get a 10-year green card. The benefits of both is that, if you do get approved on those bases, you're eligible for citizenship 3 years from the date of your original green card. Okay. One key difference that I want to make sure that I mention is that if you're putting in a VAWA application and you and your spouse get divorced or whatever, you can't remarry somebody else until they make a decision on your case. With conditional green cards, it doesn't matter. Okay. Okay, let's answer some questions. Facebook user says, good morning from Jamaica. Hey, good morning, Jamaica in the house today. Sandra says, good morning. How are you? I am doing wonderful, thank you. You say, I have a question. A friend of mine, she's a green card holder. She got divorced. She's applying for a 10-year green card. Can she get married? So I guess the first question is, she's a green card holder, she got divorced. So nobody's stopping you from getting married if you need to remarry, but one of the things you want to look at is timing. One, how did the person get the green card? Two, when are they remarrying that person after divorce? So, but nobody's stopping you. Nobody's saying that if you have a green card, you can't divorce and remarry, but you just also want to make sure you're looking at timing when it comes to applying for citizenship, because those things sometimes will come back to life. Okay, but without knowing a little bit more, it's hard to really say from an analytical point what should happen. Karenza says, I did my second interview in June, still in review. Any advice? My advice is be prepared and get yourself ready that there's a possibility that it could come to a home visit. If you did your second interview, it means that you probably had a Stokes interview. And for those of you who don't know, a Stokes interview is basically an interview where they have reason to believe that your marriage is not legitimate, and this is your opportunity to prove that it is legitimate. And so what they do is they separate the two of you guys. This usually happens at the second interview. That being said, there are many field offices, like field offices in Indiana, Massachusetts, sometimes that will do a Stokes interview the first time. So you should always prepare as though your first interview is a Stokes interview, because you just never know. Sometimes you could both go in there for a joint interview. One spouse has an attitude and is answering questions funny, and the officer's like, all right, we're going to separate the two of you. So always prepare for that. But that's what I'll say to your friends. Just prepare that there may be a site visit. They may be reaching out to your landlord or your mortgage company or your friends or what have you, but there's not really much you can do. They have to do the investigation. June is not really a long time. After 6 months, then you can try and do an inquiry and see, what's going on and what's the status of your case. But with 2 months, they're really not going to pay any or much attention to you. Okay. David says, good morning, my best lawyer. Hey, Davis, what's up? Good morning, Samantha. Good morning, Denise. So Bella says, good morning, asking for a friend. USCIS went to her house. Her husband said he married her as a favor. The wife filed for divorce before USCIS responded. What is most likely to happen in your expert opinion? What's most likely to happen is that she will be getting a denial from USCIS. And if she truly married him legitimately and he is setting her up, tell your friend to call her for a consultation to see if she qualifies for one of the options that we've talked about. And our number is 407-995-6567. Patrick says, I try to contact your office. Unfortunately, I talked to the wrong person. Please, how can I talk to you for consultation? Patrick, do you mean you talked to the wrong person at my office? If you did, definitely DM me, let me know who that was, because feedback is always very good. But you can schedule a consult with me directly by going on my website if that's better for you, www.chidoluelaw.com, and that is spelled CHID as in dog, OLUE law.com. So you can schedule your own consultation right on there yourself, or you can call our number 407-995-6567 or WhatsApp 404-333-8751. Okay? Let's see. So Princess says, what about persons that get the extension? So I'm assuming that you're talking about extensions for 2-year green card. So, typically if you have a 2-year green card, when you file for removal of conditions, you will be given an extension basically to allow you to continue to stay in your green card status while they process your case, because cases take a long time. Right now, cases take anywhere from 18 to 24 months. So normally you will get a 24-month extension. That being said, I'm not really sure what the question is as it relates to that. Are you saying that if you're in the period of extension and the person becomes abusive to you, can you change your petition? Absolutely. You can amend your petition. So you can start out filing a joint petition with your husband or your wife, and then that person becomes abusive. And if that person becomes abusive, then you can amend your petition. So hopefully, that answered your question. Young Jamaican says, good morning. If your green card was stolen, how can you get to travel? First things first, you're going to need to submit an I-90, basically saying that your green card was stolen and you're requesting a replacement. I will warn you right now, we're looking at anywhere from 15 to 18 months. Yes, I know it is absolutely ridiculous for a replacement of a green card or renewal of a green card, but that is just the reality of the timeline. Once you get your filing receipt for that I-90, then you can go to you can call USCIS's 1-800 number and request InfoPass. And when they make that appointment for you, they will give you an added stamp. When you call to request InfoPass, tell them you need an added stamp because you have an I-90 receipt for a stolen green card. When you go on there, they will then stamp your passport with a temporary 12-month green card. Now, if you already have your travel plans, it would even be helpful and quicker for you to be able to say, this is the date I'm traveling, so I really need this appointment, as soon as possible. Okay? All right, let's see what else we have here. If VAWA is pending, can I apply for travel documents? The answer to that is that it depends. If you are eligible for an adjustment of status when you're applying for your VAWA case, you should apply for the adjustment of status, work permit, and travel permit at the same time. Without knowing your personal immigration history, I don't know if you're eligible or not. It will be something that we'll have to discuss in a consultation. But if you are eligible, as I said, you will be able to file for a travel permit at the same time while you're applying for your work permit, adjustment of status, and VAWA case. Okay, let's see what other questions we have here. So somebody says, can a green card holder who is an ex-felon apply for citizenship? It is going to depend on a lot. Odds are not necessarily in your favor if it's an aggravated felony and it has happened within the last 5 years. But those are things that, one would need to evaluate to know what kind of crime it was. Was it something that was punishable by more than 365 days in prison? Did you serve time? When was it? And is it a crime of moral turpitude? But those things could affect you realistically. Let's see what else we have here. Good morning, Kofits. Daily Social says, first time here, a fan of your content from the Philippines. Hey, thank you for tuning in. Princess, first time from Florida. Hi, thank you for tuning in. Antisocial says, good morning, booking an appointment right now. Yes, good job. Thank you. Let me see what else I have here. Okay, I have some questions in the question box. Just hold on, guys. Let me take this question. Somebody asked, please, my question is about a U.S. passport. When is the appropriate time to apply after getting your green card? So I think what you're trying to ask me is, when is the appropriate time to file for U.S. citizenship? Because, as a green card holder, you cannot get a U.S. passport until you get a naturalization certificate. So the best time to apply for naturalization is as soon as you're eligible for it. There are two timelines for eligibility. If you're currently married, and you and your spouse have been married for 3 years and you've had your green card for 3 years, you can apply for naturalization. Usually you do it about 2 years, 9 months, into that green card. Also, this applies to both green card holders who receive their green card as a result of VAWA abuse or conditional removals based on abuse. Otherwise, everybody else has to wait 5 years. After you've had your green card for 5 years, technically, you can put in your application 4 years and 9 months, before the 5th anniversary. You can put in your application there. Of course, there are other things that you have to look at to make sure that you're eligible for naturalization. But from a timeline perspective, that will be the earliest time. Do keep in mind, though, that if you're somebody that travels back and forth inside and outside the U.S. and you're spending a lot of time outside of the U.S., that sometimes you could inadvertently trigger your counts to start all over again, because you have to make sure that half of the time that you've had that green card, that you're in the United States and that you're able to show that you intend to establish the U.S. as your resident. So i.e., you're filing taxes or, something like that. Okay. All right. Let's see what else. Cleopatra is asking a very good question. Wait, how do I open this other question? Hold on. Let me get it. So Cleopatra says, are you required to attend therapy before filing for VAWA? This is a really good question. You're not required to go to therapy before you submit a VAWA case, but you can certainly go to therapy, if you need therapy. And honestly, most people that abuse, you could certainly use somebody to talk to. Does it help push your case forward? Yes. But are there many clients that get approved without it? Absolutely. It all really depends on what your documentation and your evidence is, and we evaluate that also, where I'm like, no, we're not submitting this without therapy, or you must do therapy. We will submit it, and then we will amend your case with the therapy, because you can also amend your case, because sometimes the trauma continues even though you submitted your petition, and you're doing the amendment after you submitted it. In those cases, you can also do that as well. Okay, let's see what else we have. Okay, so this person says, when I called your office, Patrick says, when I called your office, I talked to an Indian guy, telemarketer. You definitely did not call my office, because we don't have any Indian telemarketers picking up the phone. So I don't know who you spoke to. This is a good question. If someone's green card is expired, can you still apply for citizenship? Yes, you still can. Every field office is different as far as how they handle it. Let me use Florida, for instance. With Florida, that's okay. But for a lot of people, what they do, especially, if you want to travel or something like that, or you might need it for your employment, or if you lose your job and you want to get a new job, or your driver's license is about to expire and you need to renew your driver's license, you can file for a green card renewal at the same time while you're filing for your citizenship application. But yeah, there are people whose green cards expire and we still submit their citizenship application, and it's not a problem. But again, sometimes some field offices don't like that. But yeah. Okay, let me see what else haven't I answered. Okay, so this person said, sent in request for evidence May 4th. Also joint filed I-485. When will I get a response from USCIS? I don't know. I don't know when you're going to get a response. You know, you send in your request for evidence and you just wait. I don't know what stage you are in your case. I don't know what kind of case you have. So I can't answer you. But as long as you sent in your request for evidence and you've confirmed that it was received, you just wait for them to make a decision. Whenever you guys are doing your cases or attempting to do your cases yourself, which I don't recommend, by the way, but for those of you who do and are in a situation where you have to send things like responses to requests for evidence, responses to notice of intent to deny, it is really imperative. It is really important that you are making sure that you make sure that you use a tracker to track your application or your submission. Not like 5 months later, you're like, well, I sent it to USCIS. I know I sent it to USCIS. Let me tell you guys why. Because with most postal services, after 4 months, they automatically erase that tracker. Meaning if you type it in, it will just say no information or we can't provide information. So it is important that you submit it, you wait that week, go check the tracker, make sure delivery confirmation, print that out and save that, because you always want evidence to show that you submitted something. Because God forbid it doesn't get there by the deadline. You want to be able to say, here's my tracker showing that I did send it by the deadline and you guys just didn't receive it. Because, postmen make mistakes too. Okay. Kamush says, good morning, my favorite lawyer. Hi, how are you? Okay, let me see what else we have here. Oh my goodness, guys, I have like 6 more questions to go here in this question thing, but I only have 2 minutes. So let me pick something good. Okay, let's see. Oh crap, my phone just rang and that usually messes up my Instagram, so it means I will be logging up. Can you guys hear me on Instagram? Can you hear me? Yeah, so just hold on, guys. If you cannot, I'm not going to be able to, I'm going to have to log off live because this person keeps calling me. So just give me 1 minute. And it's changing like all these filters. So I got to go. All right, guys. Sorry, I have to go. Like somebody's calling me and they are just ringing. So it's affecting my Instagram. But I will tune in live and we'll continue where we stopped on Friday at 1:30. All right, guys. Talk to you guys later. Bye.